We're here with the director of Ain't It Cool, Bret Hart. I won't call you the Hitman. We'll just go to that.
I do produce hits, though.
Well, you got to do that.
That's how I got this job. I got a call from Nerdist, and they said, Bret the Hitman Hart? I said, yes, I produce hits. He said, would you like to go down to Austin and meet Harry Knowles? I said, I'm on it.
Did you really? Is that really how it is?
He didn't think I was the Hitman, but it was a joke. And I'd had a beverage, and we joked with each other. It was Miller time for the two of us, the producer.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I've got to start with, because me and Harry talked a long time about this, a Lane Bryant store in the middle of nowhere?
Right.
What the hell were y'all thinking?
Oh, well, you know, I mean, I look at everything from how can I make something maximize on production value on a shoestring. We got something like 7,000 square feet of studio space to 9. I'm not quite sure what the total number was. It would have cost us something like $4,000 to $6,000 a month to rent at the studios there, whereas I got this for under $2,000 per month. So it allowed me to put more of the production dollars in the show.
And it's shown in the show. Like, I was amazed at what all is going on in the show. How much... It must be hard to sit down with Harry and be like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want a cave that you can go into. And you're like, okay, we'll try and figure something out.
Harry and I have a real good collaborative effort. It's like two brothers working together. And there's a lot of fun jiving with each other, you know. But he's got a super genius personality, creative imagination, and I have to manage the expectations of that and say, okay, yeah, I would love to have the mothership fly in today, but it's not in our budget, so we're going to have our interview with Danny Boyle go 2 minutes longer, and we can probably have a teleporter thing happen here. The first season, which was a YouTube season, which was a webisode season, we had more dollars to experiment with effects, and it was shorter running time. Since we had longer running time on PBS, we had to really buckle down on where those dollars went. So when we did do something that was fertile with imagination, we had to manage those expectations. So we weren't ever able to. We only gleaned about 100%, a tenth of what we really wanted to get.
Wow.
I mean, we had so many wild ideas that we still want to experiment with.
Because it looks fresh and unique, and I mean, that's crazy to hear, because it looks like nothing else out there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Like, I'm impressed with how y'all came across. It doesn't look like that at all.
When I first went down to meet with them, the first thing that came out of my mind was I wanted it to feel like I wanted to represent Austin. In Austin, there's that expression, keep it weird. And one of my favorite places to go at the time was Chewy's, which has found art. So like, instead of having hubcaps hanging, we got film reels hanging, and I brought the Christmas lights in when I was lighting it and so forth. But we wanted it to feel very reflective of the artists and the spirit of Austin, and I totally think it reflects Harry as well. I mean, that magic basement comes totally from Harry's id. I mean, there are no basements in Texas. That was sort of an inside joke about it. So it's a magic basement.
I'm curious then, like, when you're switching to public broadcasting, how did you change as a director? How did you focus in on what you needed to make it happen, but also to kind of make sure that they would like it, compared to the webisodes, which I'm guessing there's a little bit more freedom to go a little out there?
Oh, the webisodes, it was the Wild West, and Harry and I, we had a crew that went from straight out of college to some seasoned veterans, and sometimes the things that would come out of Harry's and my mouth would just freak people out. But that's what's so beautiful about Harry, is you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. So we went in with Nerdist on YouTube as this is the new, the new Wild West, and there was cursing in it. I had Pops flipping him off, whatever. We were doing it like bad boy, kids, adult kids. And then when PBS came, obviously we had to clean up our act. And that's the thing that we figured out even before that. Even before they came to us, we started Kickstarter. We said, look, we're going to clean up our act. There won't be any more cussing, and we'll be a little more academic, because the two of us wanted to make. When we were doing the stuff for YouTube, there was no time constraint, but on the internet, you do want to keep it short for attention. Whereas in Harry has so much information in his head, we could definitely fill 25 minutes for PBS. So when it came to us, that was one of the things that we discussed. Now, we weren't sure if we were going to go PBS Cove, which is streaming, which means that it could be shorter, or if it was going to be broadcast. Broadcast costs more money.
Wow.
And so when we first showed stuff, as a producer, I buckled down. It was a lot less fun for me. I was less I felt like I was less of a director, but I actually had to be more business-minded. So when we went and shot stuff, I was like, okay, we're going to knock out this, and this 16-hour day, we're going to knock out that. We'll have Danny Boyle shot, we'll have Wes Craven shot, and I went in and I showed it. We went in and showed it to them, and we're like, can we do half of the show with Danny Boyle and half of it Wes Craven? I'm looking at it from dollars, and they're like, you could do that, but we really like your show. We'd like it to be more thematic. Can you go back and fill in that time? When necessity became the mother of all invention, so I was like, how am I going to do that with this little money left? So I'm like, hey, Harry, I want you to do an interview with the boiler. And that's actually one of my favorite things. So like, necessity became the mother of all inventions, and it's been a fun experiment.
Are you amazed at the amount of talent that Harry was able to help bring out? I mean, there's some huge names. I mean, Wes, like you said, I mean, this is special to see him now, knowing that Danny, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Bo, like that interview was amazing. The talent level, that must have just been exciting to deal with all these wonderful minds.
You know, and that was a lot of it was Harry, and a lot of it is producers that aren't here right this second that brought a lot of people. Like executive producer Lewis Black brought in Leonard Maltin.
Yeah.
So we shot him on, I think it was on my birthday at South by, and then you know, Jamie Gallagher brought in Bo Willimon, brought in Burt Reynolds. And so it's like everybody huddled together to bring who they could. Harry, what we did with that is during the limbo transition from Nerdist to broadcast, we had an opportunity to shoot a few tours, and Wes Craven was one of them. So we got very fortunate. We buckled down. We took money out of our own pockets, and we took our own time, and it's called sweat equity, and we believed in it, and we shot this stuff, never knowing if it was going to happen. And now here we are. It's like a Cinderella story, you know, that there's 73 stations looking, you know, showing the show, and I couldn't be any happier.
Is it crazy that it is nationwide? It's everywhere.
It's surreal. It's surreal because it started out as a YouTube thing, and then IMAX of all beautiful companies believes in us, and they're the ones helping, you know, get it out there. So it's definitely a Cinderella story.
What's it like being able to bring it to festivals and showcasing it still here in Texas? This is still, I know it's not Austin, but we're still like family.
Well, I'm from Dallas originally. I started my career, this whole journey's been like full circle. I always wanted to live in LA. Now I call it Los Angeles. I'm not knocking it, but I just didn't fit that demo. I love Texas. I got that Lone Star attitude. I think that's why Harry and I get along so well. But I started my career at Las Colinas. One of my producers here, Greg Hughes, he started it. We did a film called Bone Dry, $1 Million, right? And then during that transition from LA, I wanted to come back and be near my daughter. This started, and it was about 1/10 of the budget. So to have something like 7 to 9 hours of content for 1/10 of the budget of a feature, and then have more exposure and have these open arms of people loving it, you know, it's just that validifies the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it.
What can we expect coming out? What can we expect that you guys are working on?
There's interest in it internationally that I won't say too much about. Let's see how the reaction is to it. As soon as we gather that info, we really like to do it. It wouldn't be a third season, it would actually be our second season, because we consider this to be our PBS broadcast system, and we think PBS is the perfect home for it. There's interest in putting it on other venues as well.
Wow, exciting. Well, what's the weirdest story you've gotten from Harry? Just doesn't have to be on air, because I know there's a lot more off air. What's the story that just stands out like,
oh my God.
Oh, every time I see Harry, it's like, I can't believe he told me that.
I don't...
That you can say.
I don't know what to say there. I don't know about the weirdest story or just the weirdest things that would come out of his mouth when we're shooting. You know, when you have, you know, we were asked by Nerdist to do these setups, like these little opens to tell what the shows are about. So we just did this really sweet show that was all about the guy that voiced Big Bird. So we had that mentality of the sweetness had just come out that day, so everybody's watching it. And then at the end of the shoot this day, while the other one's airing, we had to do the setup. And I'm like, Harry, what should we talk about? Because we have to set this up. We need 15 to 20 seconds to talk about. I'm dying in on him, not sure what's going to come out of his mouth, and finger banging comes out of his mouth. And it's like, this is a great old movie like back in high school when you're finger banging your girlfriend. And I'm like, oh my God. So you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. It's always fun. It's always colorful. It's very much like his shirts. And I'm sure I'll remember something else later on.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. Well, Brett, we appreciate you coming back home, and thank you so much, Brett.
Oh man, thanks a lot. Hope you guys enjoy the movie or shows.
Yep.
All right.
And we'll add in everything at the end.
All right, man. Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.